Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to today's AFK journey video. So in today's AFK journey video, we have a brand new Plague Creeper team, and this team is insane because like I was thinking like, how is this team so good? Like, where is the damage scaling coming from? And then I realized there's quite a few key mechanics that we failed to realize from our experimenting on the boss itself. Okay, but before we start talking about the mechanics, let's talk about the talents first. So I just respect my light bearer talent from yesterday to the Graveborn one because this is currently the best one, and moving forward this will become even better because I'll explain why. So let's take a look at the ability first, right? So this ability allows the prime carrier to get the stats of another ally, right, while also getting some HP recovery. So the HP recovery is not the important part because we have Ludovic for the healing to keep the team going, and the boss doesn't hit that hard in the first place, right? So the key part is the stats part. So this skill increases the prime carrier stats by 18% attack and 18% physical and magical defense from the sacrifice itself. So we have two prime carriers, so two units will get the stats buff. But that's not the most insane part. The most insane part is actually this line. Recovers 80% HP for a prime carrier when they assist or defeat a non-summon enemy, and permanently increases their attack by 10% and physical and magical defense by 10%. So this part, right, initially I thought, wait, isn't Plague Creeper's Plague Rod a summon? And then I went back to take a look at the skill kit itself. If we go further, if we go into details in terms of the wording, intermittent split splits into larger Plague Rods or 3 large Plague Rods whenever the Plague Creeper loses HP. And then, right, when it's defeated, each one will split into 2 medium Plague Rods. Which means that this is not a summon, this is just a split from the original body, which means that each of these mini Plague Rods or smaller bosses will actually contribute to a stats increase. And that's why, right, later on you guys will see a whole bunch of green boxes on our carries, which are the prime carriers, because each of these smaller summons provides a permanent stat increase. So our damage output of the carries, the prime carriers, will increase tremendously, which is why our damage scales up insanely well. Right, and why this is an insanely powerful late game build is because the more summons you get, the more stats you get on a carry, and that's where your artifact will do more damage, your units will do more damage, and then you can kill the boss faster to proc more summons moving forward. So this is the insane part of the mechanic. So without further ado, let's talk about the teams first, right? Let's go into the Plague Creeper side. So I actually made some adjustments to it. So the main carrier of choice is Carolina as well as Lily May. So okay, one thing before we begin, like the thing about factional talent is I know some of you guys have actually exhausted all your factional talents, so I don't encourage you guys to do the resets that early because I'm a content creator, so I want to bring this information for you guys so that you guys know how the team works, right? What's the mechanics behind the team, as well as why this is the strongest team moving forward, right? This probably will be because the more summons this boss splits into, right, the more cycles of splitting you go through, the stronger your carry become, and that's where your damage is scaling infinitely, right, until a certain cap where the boss hits so hard and all your units die, and that's for the factional talent side. Okay, so I don't encourage everyone to reset immediately. I think on a day-to-day basis, if you're able to do 30 chests, that's more than good enough. Okay, so now for the units, let's start with the very first unit, the carrier of choice, Lily May, best magical damage dealer, one of the best unit to receive the factional talent buff. So right now I'm 561 on Lily May carry. Okay, second carry, Carolina. So Carolina is also an insanely good damage dealer, being able to debuff the boss with the Ice Vortex ability from the EX weapon skill. Okay, and there's also a whole bunch of debuffs on the boss which will benefit the third unit, which is our dear Ciccia over here. So Ciccia over here has this seasonal ability which increases damage dealt to an enemy for each stat debuff inflicted by a different caster. So we have the debuff coming from Reyna with the EX weapon skill, right? There's a debuff right here. We have the debuff coming out from Carolina, right, from the Ice Vortex ability, and we also have the debuff from our dear Ciccia herself from her EX weapon. Right, so we have multiple different casters, and this skill is able to increase the damage dealt on the boss by quite a bit. So that's why we chose Ciccia. If you don't have Ciccia invested, then probably can try to use Torrent as well, because Torrent's EX weapon skill or Torrent's charm skill over here has a debuff as well. So That is if your team has issues surviving. But with this build, with the heals from the skill itself, your carries ain't dying because your carries will recover HP, and the only ones that will probably die are the other units. So therefore, we are fielding Ludovic, because Ludovic will be the healer for this team to trigger the Graveborn Factional talent and also give the attack buff from the charm skill right here. So this attack buff will actually buff up Carolina, and for the other support we'll be running Reina for the debuff on the boss, as well as to combo with Cicia's charm skill, and also to give an attack buff to Lilimate, because I have the charm skill of Reina right here, and putting him in front of Lilimate allows me to give the attack boost to her for even more damage. So the artifact of choice is Tight Core spell. You might also want to consider Resonating spell to further buff up Lilimate's damage, but I think Tight Core spell is a lot better because the overall haste increase is just a lot better for the whole team in general, like benefiting all the carries, and also magical damage being able to be further boosted by Carolina's magical defense now. So if you go into the artifact over here, right, if we go into the Tight Core spell, so this skill over here is a magical damage. So this is further buffed up by Carolina's magical defense now. So that's one of the reasons why I chose Tight Core spell instead. And without further ado, right, let's go for a run and showcase the damage and the power of this team. Okay, very, very powerful. I had a run and I rose all the way to 2nd place. Insane damage. Okay, so without further ado, let's start the battle. Okay. So I'll go at one time so you guys can see what's going on. So the sacrifice is actually Cicia, indicated by the sword on her head. So we are taking some damage from Cicia, and then once we kill the first Plague Creeper, as you guys can see, we get the green boxes, which are all the stats buff, and you guys will see the green boxes stacking up. So this is what I mean by infinite stat stacking. And then the more summons you kill, the more stats you stack on your carries, and that's where, right, your tidal waves also hit harder because it's a part of your team's attack, right? And on top of that, because Carolina is an AoE attacker, she's able to do a lot of damage in an AoE fashion really fast as well. And if you combine that with all these stat stacking on the carries, as you guys can see, there's so many boxes on them, the damage is scaling off the roof. And this is the strongest build moving forward because, like I mentioned earlier, right, the more damage you do, the higher level you go, the more splits will occur on the boss, and that's where you get even more stat stacking, and that's where this is gonna just get stronger over time. So for the light bearer one, there's quite a bit of RNG, but this comp is relatively consistent in terms of dealing damage because there really isn't like many like repositioning between the units. Like the mechanics and the strategies between the units are pretty consistent, so therefore this is a more consistent build compared to the light bearer one as well. So not only is this team powerful, this team is also insanely consistent, and it will only get stronger with time. So I would encourage you guys to do it if you have the swap ticket, if you want to sort of get your ranks earlier. But I think since we have quite a few days for the Primal lot to settle down, what I'll suggest is you can actually wait for 1 week for your factional talent to reset in case you just respec into the light bearer side, and then before the boss go down, you can actually respec into the Graveborn side for this maximum damage build, because moving forward there might be even more powerful meta teams out there which could turn up. So right here, this is the damage distribution, as you guys can see right here. So Carolina and Lilimate being massive damage dealers, and we are currently 2nd on the leaders board. Okay, pretty crazy. very close to the first guy. I think the first guy used the exact same strategy. So now we're gonna respec my team a little bit. Give me a moment. Yeah, so we did a little bit better previously. I think there's just a little bit more RNG factor included, but let's just respec Cicia. So we're gonna give Cicia even more stats so that we get like more stats at the start of battle. So in the meantime, we're also gonna increase the levels of our equipments, so we get like more damage on Cicia. Wait, let me check whether or not I have the damage of... Okay, we go with Lilimate. I kind of forget to upgrade her equipments. Let's just upgrade Cicia's equipment here as well. So this is to min-max my damage. Not gonna waste too much resources upgrading further, but let's start this run, okay? Final run, let's see whether or not we can beat our own damage. I think with all the respecking of the equipments, we should be able to. So Cicia is the one that's gonna be the sacrifice, and let's start the battle. Yeah, I think we still need Tidal Essence because we still need some help in terms of having a little bit more AoE to remove the summons as quickly as possible, because even though we have decent AoE coverage by Carolina, but I think Carolina alone is still not fast enough to remove all these mini summons over here, or mini splits, right? I shouldn't call it summon because they're non-summon units, they're actually splitted units. So many boxes on the carries. I was like, initially when I saw this build, I was like, how is this build even working, right? Because I thought, you know, Plague Rot is a summon, so there shouldn't be too much stats for the talent to actually do more damage. But then I was wrong. After I tried it myself, I saw all these green boxes on my carries and I'm like, what the hell? This build is insane. Like, it's just gonna be even better the more units you kill. And then the synergies between like the different units, from Cicia's debuff to Carolina's magical defense down, right, to Reina having permanent debuff on the boss, and Ludovic providing the heal as well as the attack buff for Carolina as a secondary carry is also pretty good. So yeah, this team is just really like well-rounded in terms of dealing maximum damage. Okay, we just go at 2 times since we roughly know the result. So let's see whether or not we can beat our own record and be number 1 for this one. Okay. Insane. Whoop. Wow, there's a lot of damage. Okay. Can we? We're close. 4 seconds. Come on. Little bit pop. Okay. Nice. We just beat our own record. Did we get our number 1 slot? Yes. We got our number 1 slot here. Okay, really nice stuff. So that's pretty much it, right? The brand new Graveborn build, which is like mind-blowing after I discovered it. So credits to Alan for sharing it with me, and credits for Zemus for sharing the screenshot, as well as whoever shared this team for everyone else to discover. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more. See you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.